About the temple of Philae. The temple of Philae is built by the Ptolemies, and it's dedicated for a goddess, her name Isis, the goddess of love and the goddess of beauty. The Greek, when they came to Egypt, they wanted to please the Egyptian people. This is why they built lots of temples. I mean Ptolemy's temple, and it's dedicated for Isis, the goddess of love and beauty, and one for Horus, the god of the protection, one for Hathor, the goddess of the dance, love and motherhood. And the one like Komombo temple, the one we have been yesterday, which is dedicated for Horus, the god of the protection, and Sobek, the crocodile god. About the temple of Philae, originally it was in a place called Philae Island, and this is why they call the temple until now Philae Temple. Why they call the island Philae? Because Aswan, as you know, at the southern of Egypt. Okay, so the island of Philae at the southern of Aswan. So Philae is the Greek word which it means the end. They built the temple of Philae, the Ptolemies, close to another island called Biga Island. Biga Island, why? Because they thought that the head of Osiris, or even the body of Osiris, was buried over there after he was killed by his brother Seth. Okay, it happened that the British, when they start building the old dam of Aswan, the temple or a part of the temple submerged under the water of the Nile. The Egyptian people by themselves cannot save the temple, so it happened that they launched an appeal to UNESCO organization later on, and the UNESCO organization make a tour in the whole world for collecting the money and then get back to Egypt, and they start saving the temple. It lasted from 1970 to 1980 to save the temple. It takes like 10 years until it's open again for the public. So in 1980 it was open again for the public. How they save it? First of all, they went to another island close to the island of Philae. It's called Angelica Island, and they make a very big cement layer on the whole island. And then they start to make a cover dam surrounding the whole temple in its original side. And then they starting pumping the water out. And then they start cutting the temple to many blocks of stones, around 47,000 blocks of stones. And then they start moving them to the new one or new island, and they start to rebuild it again until they finish the whole building, and they open again the temple in 1980 for the public to visit. Actually, without the help of UNESCO organization, nobody can see the temple of Philae anymore. This is about saving the temple. What about the stories around the temple? The temple, it's dedicated for Isis, the goddess of love and beauty. Who was Isis? Isis was the daughter of the god Jeb, the god of the earth, and her mother called Nu, the sky goddess. Jeb and Nu, they came from Sho and Tefnut. Sho and Tefnut, they came before from a goddess named Ato. So this is the beginning of the creation. So when Nut be pregnant in her first pregnancy, she gave birth for twin, a boy and a girl. A boy called Osiris and a girl called Nephthys. And then Nut be pregnant again of a son and a daughter. A son called Seth and a daughter called Isis. So the boy in the first pregnancy can marry the girl in the second pregnancy, and the boy in the second pregnancy can marry the girl in the first pregnancy. And this is how it goes at this time. So Osiris supposed to marry Isis. Seth supposed to marry Nephthys, but Seth, he was so jealous. Nephthys, she was beautiful, but not as much as Isis. So Seth, he wanted to marry Isis and not Nephthys. So this is actually the beginning of the troubles and problems between Seth and Osiris. Then Seth, he wanted to marry Isis, and no way. So he started to think how he can get rid completely of his brother. So he prepared for a huge banquet or a large banquet, and he invited the high officials of the country, and he invited his brother Osiris. As the meal ended, he started announcing, saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, I have a surprise for all of you. I have a box made out of gold. This box, for the one whose body will fit perfectly the size of this box." So all the ones who attended the party tried one by one to lay down inside the box, but the box, it fitted nobody, except when Osiris' turn comes, it fitted him perfectly. So Seth and his followers hurry up and shut the box and get the box and throw him in the water of the Nile. Isis, she was so sad an unhappy person, and she started to look for her lover everywhere. And then she found the box. She get the box out of the water, and she hid the box in a shade overlooked the river Nile. Unfortunately, Seth was fishing on the Nile at the time. He found the box, he get Osiris out, he killed Osiris, and he cut him to 14 pieces and scattered him all over the country of Asia. Right? So Isis for the second time was so sad, and she started looking for her lover everywhere. And she started collecting the parts of Osiris until she gets all the parts. And then she spent a night with the holy ghost of Osiris, and she be pregnant of her son Horus. Osiris refused to stay with the people in the first life, and he be the god of paradise or a god of afterlife. So Isis, as soon as she gave birth for her son Horus, she cannot stay any longer, and she fled from Upper Egypt to Lower Egypt, and she settled down over there, and she started to bring her son up. When she brought her son up, she told him that his father was killed by his uncle Seth. So this young man, Horus, he decided to take a revenge of the murder of his father, and he started fighting against his uncle, and at last he defeated his uncle, and he kept the country alive in peace. And as I mentioned this morning, that the temple of Horus, we did see the figures at the back, and we did see the play, which is considered as the first play in the history. Okay.